Welcome to a new VoltLog. So in the past year or so, I've reviewed the Thermal Master Thor 002 and the Thermal Master P3 thermal cameras, with the P3 being more electronics inspection repair focus because it has this adjustable focus lens, no pun intended, but that gave it macro capability that you want for looking at small components on a PCB, and the Thor 002 being that more general purpose industry inspection rugged handheld. They're both great cameras, but each focuses on specific applications and each does better at some specific application. And if you want, you can check out those reviews. I'll try to link them on screen. But today on my workbench I have the Thermal Master P1, which is like their entry-level, more affordable model that is designed for more general purpose applications, offering a lower resolution. So while the P3 or the Thor would get you 256 by 192 IR sensor, for the P1 you only get 160 by 120 pixel sensor, but for a much lower price tag. At the time of recording this video, it's on sale for roughly 140 euros, and you can get an additional 8% off by using the discount coupon that Thermal Master has provided, and I will place that in the description of the video. The camera comes with a universal USB Type-C interface that works with both Android and the newer iOS devices, and if you happen to have an older iOS device with a Lightning connector, they have an option for that. There is a small connector adapter. You just have to select that option when you order the product. It's not included by default inside the box like it was with the P3, which is more expensive. So like I mentioned, this uses a 160 by 120 pixel sensor with a focal length of 2.1 mm and a field of view of 52 by 39 degrees. Again, that is boosted in software to what they call Super IR resolution, 384 by 240 pixels, and while on certain images and scenarios you can observe a boost in clarity due to that, it's not a real doubling of the resolution. The temperature measurement range goes up to 600 degrees Celsius with plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius accuracy, with pretty much the same sensitivity and refresh rate of 25 Hz as the more expensive models. Software is pretty similar as well, with lots of viewing modes and adjustable emissivity. The camera is very compact, it weighs just 17 grams, and they advertise the very low power consumption of 0.32 watts, which should give you a very long run time because this is sucking power from the device it is plugged into. Inside the package you'll get the P1 camera inside this carry case, and they also include a 50 cm USB Type-C male to female extension cable. The app name is Thermal Master and is available, like mentioned, for both Android and iOS, and there's a quick guide included in the box with QR codes that you can scan to get the app. So here is the type of image you can expect from this camera. For example, this is the PCB that I typically use for testing thermal camera capabilities. It's got an FPGA, some voltage regulators, and a bunch of small O201 and O402 passives, which is pretty much the typical stuff that you might work on during a PCB repair. Now, for comparison purposes, we're first going to look at just the P1 camera. On the left, I have the standard image, and on the right, just for comparison purposes, I have enabled the Super IR resolution software boost just to see if we can tell if there's any difference between the images. On my next test, I'm comparing the P1 on the left with the P3 on the right, which has the higher resolution and it also has the lens adjustment for macro images. So of course you're going to get a better image with the P3 Pro. So even though you can certainly spot some high temperature spots on a PCB, you can even see some SOT23 6-pin packages. This is not the ideal tool if you want to do PCB repairs. However, there are a bunch of other scenarios where this is good enough, like inspecting an electrical panel where objects inside are bigger, and this camera is capable of identifying the high spots, the low spots, pinpointing, if there is a problem in that electrical panel. Or here is, for example, another image where I'm looking at my NAS server and a networking switch which sits above it, perfectly capable of diagnosing the temperature of those devices. Another place where I tested this camera is by looking at my underfloor heating. It can definitely see the individual pipe lines under my floor, and if there was a leak, for example, I'm pretty sure it would be able to pinpoint it with enough accuracy to actually go in there and perform the repair. Another possible application is inspecting the engine compartment of a vehicle. Again, components here are big, so the camera with its given resolution is well capable of identifying spots, measuring temperatures, and actually pinpointing any problems, be it with the internal combustion engine and its components or the electrical system. The same goes for pipe work, HVAC systems, insulation, walls, finding leaks. This is well capable of measuring and pinpointing potential problems in those applications. So do not discard this model just because of its lower resolution, because I think there is a use case for those users who are not necessarily doing professional work but still want to have a thermal camera in their toolbox for various measurements around the house and the office without breaking the bank. And I would add that even though this is their entry level, the build quality feels, just as nice as the more expensive models, and the fact that they still include the carry case and the USB extension cable is pretty nice of them. If they would have included the small lightning connector adapter by default, that would have made it universally compatible with the older iPhones. It would have been even nicer, but I'm not really sure even what percentage of users are still running on the older lightning connector, because it might not make sense if there's a very small percentage of users still using that. The iOS app seems to work okay. I haven't had any major issues. Maybe occasionally I had to restart the app to get it to pick up the newly connected camera, but that was mostly because I was plugging in and unplugging the camera for the various tests that I did. I wouldn't call that a major issue. In my case, it even offered to update the firmware of the camera, and it does have all of the thermal camera features you would usually expect, like the different image modes, the different measurements, the ability to capture both images and video, the ability to restrict the measurement scale for temperature, and to export the captured images and videos to the phone image gallery. So it pretty much covers my needs. Because this is an entry-level camera in their lineup, there is no macro lens available, so this is what you get. You have to consider this thoroughly before getting the cheaper model over the more expensive. Think about what you are going to use this for. It will likely work great if you just want to use this for general hobby projects, inspection work around your home or vehicle, as shown in my previous examples. It will probably not perform as well if you plan to use this for electronics slash PCB repair or professional everyday use, where I would encourage you to have a look at the Thor lineup with their rugged form factor. So yeah, with everything considered, even with this lower resolution, given the build quality and the feature set, this is still good value for money, as long as you don't try to use it for work that needs the higher resolution image. I hope this video gave you a clear enough view on what to expect from this model to help you decide if you should get the entry-level model or a higher one. And should you decide to get one from Thermal Master, check out the links in the description and make sure to use the provided discount code to get a better deal. That was all for today, and I will see you in the next video.